More than 4,500 years ago, in the middle of a desert that seemed ordinary, a structure rose that should have been impossible for its time, built without steel, without heavy machinery, without anything resembling a modern compass. The Great Pyramid stands like a piece of 21st century architecture that accidentally slipped into the ancient world, its precision challenging even today's engineering. Its sides align with true north with uncanny accuracy, and its massive stones fit together as if the builders were following industrial standards no other civilization had yet imagined.
Every detail makes people in America pause for a moment and say, okay, what's really going on here? This isn't just an ancient building. It's a technical, mathematical, and organizational puzzle whose complexity has been underestimated for generations.
And behind all the facts we think we already know, lies a deeper layer of stories rarely touched by mainstream media, discoveries, data, and subtle clues that for decades existed only in the quiet corners of research. This is the side of the Giza Pyramid that feels as if time itself tried to hide it, and only now are we finally beginning to unlock its door. When people talk about the construction of the Great Pyramid, the conversation usually jumps straight to wild theories, gravity machines, aliens, lost hyper-technology. Yet strangely, the deeper modern archaeologists dig, the more shocking the real facts become. The ground around Giza is littered with traces of a massive, highly organized project, details that disappear in most popular narratives. There are remnants of bread, high-quality cattle bones, and administrative records showing that the workers weren't slaves at all, but skilled laborers, trained teams working in rotations, each with supervisors and their own specialists. For many American viewers, this alone is eyebrow-raising. The pyramid wasn't an unexplained miracle, but the outcome of meticulous human organization. And once we step into the technical side, the wonder only intensifies. The ancient builders had no steel and no machines, yet they possessed a practical understanding of physics that still impresses engineers today. Those massive stone blocks were carved using dolerite hammers, a rock harder than granite, and worked layer by layer with astonishing precision. To move them, they built ramps, sleds, and possibly even used wet sand to reduce friction. No lasers, no teleportation tech. And yet the structure that stands today weighs millions of tons, so precise that if one side were extended by just an inch, the entire geometry would collapse. What rarely reaches the news is the scale of logistics involved. Researchers at Giza discovered remnants of ancient harbors and canal systems that allowed stones from distant quarries to be floated directly to the construction site. There were permanent worker villages with nutritious food, housing, even medical care. Records show teams proudly named things like the Friends of Khufu. There was project management, food distribution, work scheduling, and strict oversight. Remove the time period from the description, and it sounds like a modern construction operation, not a civilization from 2600 BCE. But the most mind-blowing part comes from recent discoveries. Muon scans, high-energy particle imaging, have revealed large, hidden cavities inside the pyramid. Not mystical secret chambers, but clues showing that the structure was built gradually from the inside out. It demonstrates a level of structural understanding so advanced that modern scientists are still deciphering it. And that is the true mystery of the Great Pyramid's construction. Not that ancient humans were incapable, but that their abilities still challenge our assumptions. This is a chapter of history rarely spotlighted in the media, and the deeper we look, the clearer it becomes that reality is often more astonishing than the conspiracy theories. Popular theories often claim the Giza pyramids were built with cosmic knowledge far beyond human reach. Yet when astronomers and archaeologists dig into the evidence, the truth that emerges is somehow even more astonishing because it's real. Take the pyramid's orientation, aligned almost perfectly with true north, off by only about 3 arc minutes. For a civilization with no magnetic compass, that level of accuracy feels like a personal challenge to the modern world. And no, they weren't guessing. They used star observations, solar shadows, and months of repeated measurements. Simple techniques, extraordinary precision. Anyone who has seen the desert night sky knows how brightly Orion's belt shines. To ancient Egyptians, it wasn't just decoration in the heavens, it was a spiritual and architectural guide. The relationship between the 3 pyramids and the 3 stars of Orion is often exaggerated in sensational documentaries, but the verified truth remains stunning. Egyptian architects were deeply interested in the constellation and used celestial patterns as cosmological references in rituals and design. Not every detail fits like a perfect puzzle, but the overall pattern, orientation, symbolism, and the alignment of shafts is enough to confirm intentional astronomical planning. What makes it even more compelling are the narrow internal shafts, often mislabeled as air shafts, but actually pointed towards significant stars in the ancient sky. Some aligned with Thuban, the pole star during Khufu's reign, while others aimed toward Orion's belt and Sirius. This isn't coincidence. It's evidence that architecture and cosmology were treated as 2 halves of the same truth. The pyramids weren't just monuments. They were observational tools and sky maps reflecting the Egyptian concept of the soul's journey. And here's the part big media rarely highlights. This entire level of precision required no aliens, no lost civilization, no futuristic technology. What it required was generations of patient skywatchers, the rhythm of the Nile, and a culture that built monuments to understand its place in the universe. Put all these facts together, and the Great Pyramid transforms from a massive structure into a cosmic clock, a monumental record of how ancient humans read the stars and left that message behind for us to unravel thousands of years later. Behind the massive stone walls of the Great Pyramid, modern scientists have uncovered something that sounds like it belongs in an archaeological thriller. Except this isn't fiction. Between 2017 and 2023, an international team used muon scanning, a technique harnessing cosmic particles to peer through solid structures. The results left many researchers speechless. A massive void, hidden for thousands of years behind layers of stone, unseen, untouched, and unknown. And when the discovery was announced, major media mentioned it briefly, then moved on, as if finding a mysterious chamber inside the world's oldest pyramid was just another Tuesday.
What makes this discovery even more fascinating is its shape and placement. The main cavity, nicknamed the Big Void, stretches dozens of meters above the Grand Gallery, yet connects to no known passage or room. Archaeologists are still debating. Is it a structural pressure relief space? A logistical chamber used by the builders and sealed forever? Or a ritual component we haven't yet deciphered? No explanation fits perfectly. The mystery isn't fueled by wild speculation. It comes from the simple fact that its function remains completely unknown. And the Big Void isn't the only anomaly. Additional scans have revealed smaller cavities near the entrance and in areas once believed to be solid. Some are too symmetrical to be dismissed as accidents, yet too inaccessible to study without damaging the pyramid. Researchers use tiny drones and fiber optic cameras to look deeper, but much of what lies inside remains out of reach. Every new finding raises more questions than answers. Here's the part rarely delivered to the public. Archaeologists know there are hidden spaces within the Great Pyramid, but they cannot yet say what those spaces were meant for. No dramatic claims, no fabricated legends, just facts that send a shiver down your spine because they feel like messages from a past still waiting to be decoded. And the deeper we investigate, the clearer it becomes that the pyramid isn't merely a monument of stone, but a labyrinth of ideas, architecture, and symbolism we still don't fully understand. For decades, the Great Pyramid has been a magnet for wild theories, alien architects, Earth energy engines, ancient machines. Interestingly, many of these ideas sparked not from strong evidence, but from the very real oddities found in the structure. And this is where the story gets fun. When you compare the viral versions to what scientists actually uncover, the truth doesn't become boring. It becomes far more compelling. Take the alien theory. Many point to the stone weights, the angle precision, the stellar alignment, and conclude there's no way ancient humans built this. But excavations say otherwise. Worker camps, dolerite tools, ramps, and logistical records have all been found. No laser burns, no futuristic alloys, no anomalous tech. What we see instead is extraordinary human engineering, far more impressive than a UFO fantasy, precisely because it happened in reality. And the idea that the pyramid is an energy machine, channeling Earth frequencies. It sounds epic, perfect for viral videos. But none of the internal chambers show any sign of mechanical components or technological frameworks. What researchers find instead are symbolic layouts, ritual shafts, and architectural features designed around the king's eternal journey. And yet, one small detail keeps this theory alive. Certain rooms do produce unusual acoustic resonance. Was that intentional or just the natural physics of stone? Most scientists lean toward the latter, yet the curiosity it sparks refuses to die. And that's the real reason pyramid conspiracies never fade.
There are just enough genuine anomalies to make anyone wonder, and just enough scientific evidence to keep our feet on solid ground. Where the two meet, we don't find aliens or energy engines. We find something far more intriguing. The story of ancient humans so ambitious, so inventive, that their accomplishments still look like miracles we haven't fully explained.
In many documentaries, pharaohs are depicted like figures from mythology, distant, enigmatic, almost inhuman. But when we look closer at the traces they left behind, a far more gripping picture emerges. Rulers with towering political ambitions, tense family rivalries, and a deep desire to build something that would immortalize their names. During Khufu's reign, Egypt was not merely a wealthy kingdom. It was a stage of dynastic intrigue, succession battles, and relentless struggles for legitimacy. The pyramid was not just a grand tomb. It was a blazing proclamation of power rising from the desert, a silent declaration: I am a ruler unmatched. What rarely gets mentioned is how the pyramid's construction functioned as state propaganda. By mobilizing tens of thousands of workers, providing food, housing, and wages, the pharaoh demonstrated that he could command the nation's resources on a scale never seen before. This wasn't simply a spiritual project, it was a political performance. Every stone block became a message that the king's authority was not only divine, but also undeniably real, tangible, visible, and beyond dispute. Even the relationships between pharaohs reveal dynamics that seldom appear in school textbooks. Sneferu, Khufu's father, built more than one pyramid, not out of whim, but because he was experimenting, attempting, failing, and trying again. When Khufu's time came, he didn't want to merely continue the tradition. He wanted to surpass every ruler before him. The Great Pyramid was an act of ambition that almost reads like a family competition. If my father could build two, I will build the one that cannot be surpassed.
And when we view the pyramid through this lens of politics, propaganda, and human ambition, its mystery shifts. The question is no longer just how did they build it, but why did they build it this way? The answers that emerge are not supernatural, but far more dramatic. The pharaohs sought to command not only the land and its people, but history itself. They wanted the future to remember who held the greatest power. And thousands of years later, we still speak their names, a sign that their strategy succeeded far beyond anything they could have imagined. Even though scholars have mapped much of the Giza pyramid, there will always be parts that resist explanation. Not due to lack of research, but because this structure contains layers of incomplete information, as if it were designed to keep every curious mind forever searching. Some construction techniques have been uncovered, yet major questions remain. Why were certain chambers built with such complexity?
Why do some shafts align with celestial points while others appear empty? The deeper we explore, the clearer it becomes that gaps in our knowledge are still waiting to be filled. In archaeology, the data often feels like pieces of a puzzle scattered from different boxes. There are administrative documents about workers, but no official blueprint of the construction. There is evidence of architectural trials by previous pharaohs, yet no direct record of Khufu's technical decisions. Modern science, from muon scans to detailed 3D models, has revealed new corners, but every discovery only raises new questions. We know much, yet not nearly enough.
In philosophy and ancient Egyptian belief, the mystery goes even deeper. Why did the pharaohs align their monuments with particular stars? Why was their concept of eternity so tightly bound to geometry? Some scholars argue that the pyramid is a dialogue between humanity and the cosmos. Others see it as the ultimate symbol of absolute power. But no interpretation can claim finality. Everything remains fluid, shifting with new findings and new analyses.
And here lies the most honest and most captivating truth. The modern world has explained many things, but it has not unraveled every mystery of the Giza pyramid. We have theories, data, and technology, yet there remain spaces, patterns, and design choices with no definitive answers. Not because of anything supernatural, but because this civilization was so complex, so advanced for its time, that our understanding remains one step behind. In the end, the pyramid reminds us that history does not always deliver answers. Sometimes it delivers even greater questions.
In the desert that never sleeps, the Giza pyramid stands as an eternal testimony that humanity can break through the limits it creates for itself. Not the work of aliens, nor the remnants of a lost technology, but the product of ambition, mathematics, labor, and the dreams of a civilization that believed eternity could be built from stone. They didn't just erect a monument, they carved a message across millennia. We were here, and we want the world to know. The more researchers study the pyramid, the clearer one truth becomes. Human capability is often underestimated. When we delve into its depths, we do not find miracles from another world. We find the miracle of ourselves. The architects of ancient Egypt did not wait for cosmic revelation. They calculated, tested, failed, tried again, and ultimately succeeded. Through this monument, they proved that a civilization can accomplish the seemingly impossible even without modern technology. And perhaps this is why the pyramid continues to captivate us. It is not merely a structure, but a reminder that limits are illusions waiting to be challenged. If a 4,500-year-old structure can still shake the curiosity of the modern world, imagine what other mysteries are waiting for us to uncover.
If you want to continue this journey into the next great enigma, just write it in the comments. The next chapter is in your hands.